There are a lot of companies making a lot of cars, but some of them are more exciting than others. That's why I've got a very special one for you today. This is from the greatest of the fools, the Motley One itself. 3 reasons why General Motors is a screaming buy. I've got my buddy Randy Kirk here. Check him out, link in the description. He's written a bunch of best-selling books, and he's got one coming up next month, I think. Who knows? I may have even written a chapter. And if I did...
I've actually read the chapter, and it would be reason enough to purchase the entire book just to get his chapter.
Randy gave me permission to be myself. You get to decide what caliber of mistake that was. I had a lot of fun putting it together. So here we go. 3 reasons General Motors stock is a screaming goodbye.
Goodbye.
I screamed goodbye at GM years ago with my Pontiac Montana and my Chevrolet Quest. And I've had other GMs in the past, I'm sure. Never been terribly impressed, but here's the key points.
I did have a couple of Cadillacs, and Cadillac was a fine vehicle. They were,
yeah. They used to be the Cadillac of automobiles.
It was, but they had, super good turning radiuses, really great ride. I could highly recommend. I don't know about today, but back in the day, the Sedan DeVille was a really nice car.
It was also their tech demonstrator where they would put new things in a car that they hadn't done. General Motors has sharply reduced its shares outstanding and boosted earnings per share. You remember that? The big buyback or 2 they did?
Yeah.
That's, to me, more of a red flag because you had other things you should have been spending that money on, but you chose not to. Instead, you just use it to pump up the price a little. Okay. The Detroit CarMaster.
I would call that a yellow flag as opposed to a red flag. So in other words, on the one hand, it's saying we want our investing community to feel good about the fact that we're able to buy back and still do everything we need to do. The yellow flag would be, gosh, guys, if you want to grow into the future, if you want to be, ahead of everybody else, shouldn't you just be, if nothing else, putting this into R&D?
I think that's fair. The second bullet point here, the Detroit carmaker has invested billions into its brands and product lineup.
Well, it has. And the question is, have the billions been well spent? A lot of the billions that they've been spending, when they get to the end of the spend, all of a sudden it turns out that it was a giant, horrible mistake. I only need to look at Hummer, which I think they're selling 1 a month. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but not by much.
Well, not by much. There's very little that sells worse than the Hummer. And it's crazy because I do see them on the road, but it was a lot of, and then you've got really all the EVs, the Lyric, the Celestiq, the Fishstick, all of them. Moreover, and billions into its brands. Yes, you have spent billions advertising, but GM does not get great headlines. Nowhere close to as good as the headlines Ford gets, and Ford has the same ad spend. I think maybe, and call me crazy, but Jim Farley's pretty likable.
It's true.
For real. That's
yeah.
He's a compelling person.
And maybe Mary isn't. I don't know.
I don't find her compelling. I don't find her interesting. And I have not been able to take her seriously since their big EV day they held a few years ago, where they showed all this magic and we're going to have 35 cars in 3 years, or something ridiculous. And I watched this whole thing and said, this feels like a SEC violation because it feels like you're just trying to get fresh money in the door and that all of this is a lie. But, okay. You have spent billions on your products. You didn't spend them on the things that will allow you to survive 10, 20, 30 years from now. You spent them on the things that will help you later this year, early next year. I think it's just short-term bad thinking. Yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this one. Yeah, I got nothing to say.
Moreover, management has successfully restructured its business in China. Well, I
So
mean,
are
they've exited China
yeah,
and
that's
entered into licensing deals by which, like their Buick is still a brand in China.
Hmm.
I don't believe it's made by General Motors. And having seen one, it doesn't look anything like the GM EVs that we see from Mexico. It uses a different battery, different motors, different controllers, different user interface. What's left? Well, the
Hmm.
body's different too. Okay, so it's a Chinese car that says Buick on it.
Right.
I don't know how much money you think you're going to make off that. So, when thinking about GM, many investors think back to the financial crisis and government bailout, but that doesn't do justice to the company that GM has become. GM is doing a lot of things right, and it's quietly becoming arguably the best automotive investment out there. Here are 3 reasons why. Returning value. When it comes to returning shareholder value, there are 2 pathways, dividends and buybacks. Okay, well, we went through that. Let's see. Car makers spent $25 billion on stock buybacks. Oh, that's terrible. Investing in brands and products, spent billions, and it's starting to pay off. Chevy, the heart and soul, and GMC have been thriving since 2025 with a record first half and the best since 2019. The GM brands in general are coming off a product wave that has brought updated crossovers, SUVs, and EVs to the market, and its highly profitable trucks are next. And I think that's okay. Still got some more. Chevy is also making a splash in the EV market, becoming the number 2 brand during the second quarter, trailing only Tesla.
Trailing,
What?
trailing,
Trailing. Again, I'm trailing Usain Bolt in our
right, right.
charity fund run, and it doesn't matter how much I'm trailing him by. I'm not going to win. He
Yeah,
could he could fall and break a leg and still hop over the finish line before me. Herbert and I were having lunch with a friend of mine from the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association who I had let drive my car that day. And he said, boy, this FSD is really good. Who's in second place of cars? And it's an honest question. He said, like, who is second best at ADAS, at FSD style controls that you can buy today? Who's in second place, Randy? I don't know because it's so far back there.
maybe Xiaomi.
Oh, well,
Might
I meant in the U.S. because
oh,
he
you
was
meant
talking about
yes,
he meant cars he could buy today.
yes, yeah,
In the U.S., I mean, Ford's got their Blue Cruise, but it
yeah,
doesn't do much, and GM's got Super Cruise, which is only available on the most expensive cars they make, and it costs extra
yeah,
for highway lane keeping
yeah.
with a little bit more. I don't know, man. GM has invested heavily into its products and brands, and that's gonna carry sales momentum for years to come. Yes, how many years to come? The
Well,
current path they're on.
yeah, on the path that they're on, because they do not have a robo-taxi type product, because they have no plans to get into the robotaxi business, because they have no plans to have their own fleet of robotaxis and or any other method of getting into that business. I'm predicting that the end of life for the General Motors and Fords of the world is this decade.
I am much more optimistic for their future because there are a lot of people who really don't trust anything autonomous. I know people who don't like to set alarms on their phone because they feel there's too much margin for error. I have had a phone alarm not go off, but I've also had old school alarms not go off way more
Right,
times.
right.
So let's not get too crazy. So the
Yeah, your boss mentioned both of those instances.
yes, I'm sure. On my alarm not going off, I don't know what happened, but it was still my phone, so I it started ringing repeatedly until I answered it. Yeah, and then yeah, so there's. I think
Look,
this.
I want to give GM some credit. I want to give Ford some credit. I think as old style automobile companies right now, they're doing okay. They're doing a pretty good. They've made some pretty good and what turned out to be smart decisions with regard to hybrids. They have the cars are looking pretty good. They're nice and modern, and people do like them. I haven't ridden in any of them, so I don't know whether I like them or not. But overall, I'd say I'd give them both a good solid B plus, maybe even an A minus as old style companies. I think
Hmm.
I think of Kodak. I think of
Hmm.
Sears. I think of these were very, very good companies,
That are just either gone or
all but
close enough to gone. I don't know if I told you, in Mexico City, I saw a Sears, a Radio Shack, and a Woolworths.
a Radio Shack and a Woolworths.
Yeah, the international division was not part of the U.S. bankruptcy.
Wow.
I guess. I guess. So, guys, yeah, I'm going to just tell you, and this is not financial advice because I cannot predict the future legally, thanks to that judge's restraining order. But I do know the future, and the future is electric. And if a company is not understanding that, not taking it seriously, I have limited faith in their prospects beyond 3 to 5 years.
And
If
I'll go
GM
one
is not,
step.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'll go one step further. The future is not just electric; it's autonomous. And and
yeah,
and
well, they're
where I
so
see the
far
breakdown,
behind.
is that at some point General Motors can't make 20,000 of something.
No,
There might be a continuing business for 20,000, Ford Focuses or whatever they're called today. I don't even know the brands anymore. So there might be a business for 20,000, but they can't make 20,000 of them. That's not possible.
yes, I see that where people say, I want Tesla to make, and one example is an RV. Yes, but if Tesla makes an RV, it's going to be very expensive, and the market will be too small to justify it. It's, well, lots of people would want it. Yes, but would it be 200,000? I don't think it would. I think the price would be prohibitive for that. And GM is not taking autonomy seriously. They're trying to bring back their Super Cruise team, their cruise team, but not for taxis, just so they can have a supervised FSD. And I don't know if you can resurrect a team like that or if they're all already gone on to other things. Does anyone even know how to read and write that code? So I don't know. It's more money down the drain. And if they're not going to be serious about EVs, they're going to lose their place in every foreign market because all of the big markets are going all electric, and even the developing markets are doing it now. Ethiopia has 100% goal. Other countries have gotten very high numbers as well, even without requirements.
Right.
Get serious, GM. As my old cellmate Red used to say, get busy living or get busy dying. I think that was me and not a movie, but I could, I don't know. Somebody in the comments, find my redemption, and we'll figure it out from there. Guys, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it. I beg of you. I thank you all so much for making it possible for me to be on this, my big trip, which I'm sure by now I have already said where it is, but just in case. I probably have by this point, but if you made it this far in the video, well, I guess I can tell you in case you missed it, because this is probably coming out Thursday, Friday. Nepal, Kathmandu. I am in Kathmandu. It's very exciting. It's hot. It's muggy today.
Always wondered about that name, Kathmandu. What does that even mean?
First they Catman did. Well, they Catman did. And now they continue to Kathmandu. Yeah. I think that's a great alternate superhero name for Black Panther.
That's right.
So, guys, what are we missing, Mr. Leave it. Leave your comments. I want to hear about it. How excited are you for GM? And what were we too pessimistic and cynical about? That's a good question, too, if anything. And everybody else, like, subscribe. You know what you do. Hit thumbs. Stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.